Late Ill Kid at OneYoungsta. Hold it down. Bring it in StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of Talk Shop. We're going to have some fun today, man. I am so excited to bring this property to you. You've seen it on the channel before in an interview with the homie TJ Sterling. But today, we're getting into comics on Talk Shop. And the comic we're getting into is Okemus. We're going to be talking about issues 0 through 3 in a light spoilery fashion, but not too much because, you know what I'm saying, you got to hit them links below and get your own copy for yourself. With that said, big shout out to all of the people in the chat mad early. Big shout out to people watching this on the replay. Much love to y'all. Thank you so much. And I cannot go any further without thanking my Patreon supporters. Just, you know, every little bit helps, you know, whether it's lights, cameras, batteries, cables, cords, whatever, all kinds of stuff that helps me be able to stretch out as much time as I possibly can to, of course, continue our conversations, whether it's television, film, comics, whatever, to find a, you know, a deeper meaning. You know what I'm saying? We got a hip hop geek, we put it together. So with that said, big shout out to you guys. Big shout out to everyone who likes and shares the content because them shares help so much. So, Okemus. You might wonder, what is Okemus? You sitting there like, man, I don't know what it is, man. I ain't never heard of it. I ain't never been out there. Yo, check it. Okemus is this really cool property that has time travel, kind of Sentai fights. We got monsters and robot mixtures and stuff. We got Hulk-like creatures. But look, we've got a gang of stuff in there. Pretty girls, pretty guys, migraine headaches. We've got a lot, for real. We've got a lot, and it's fun. It's fun to read, and it's cool to watch as well. You know what I'm saying, on the beautiful screen that I have when I read my digital comics. Because I have the digital version of this, so I put it on the big screen, and it's the beautiful colors and everything. And speaking of the colors, one thing that I really enjoy about this is the art on here from TJ Sterling. I also enjoy the kind of like the guest covers as well. And the colors, man, they're vibrant without being candy coated. You know what I'm saying? If that kind of like helps you out, it's very easy to get lost in this kind of very Willy Wonka area when you have, you know, different colors for like different suits and like, you know, Sentai suits, mech-ish type suits, stuff like that, like the Guyver and stuff. You can get very Bubblegum Crisis-ish. You know what I'm saying? And no diss to them. You can get very fun colors and stuff like that, but here they do a good job of not getting so vibrant that it's just distracting, but enough fun to kind of like pull you in and know that there is something larger going on. And when I say larger going on, we're talking about this young man named Kale who, he seemed like a regular dude, right? You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, hey, look, I was an orphan when I was younger, but I'm getting past that. I'm going to school. Everything's fine. But we see him at like 3 or 4 different stages of his life during these 4 issues where we see a future version of him, a present version of him, a past, and then kind of like a more younger past version of him. And we get more questions than answers throughout these stages of his life, but in a good way. Not a situation where you're questioning what's going on and you're like tired of like, I'm tired of not getting answers, because they answer other questions along the way. And if you watch the interview with TJ Sterling, Okemus is the story. We have this young man named Caleb. He, you know, of course, ends up kind of enthralled in this situation with some people from the future. They come back. They are interested in him, highly interested in him. And we don't know if they're good or bad. We don't. They look cool. They look dope. You see their suits, you're like, oh snap, man, these must be the good guys. Then you're like, hold up, are they the bad guys? And then furthermore, you learn from them that they have their own kind of futuristic alien masters as well, which makes it a lot of fun. So let's talk about Caleb. Brother, young man, orphan, coming up in the game, finally getting himself together, getting himself in school, right? He's like, yo, I'm getting up in school, I'm doing my thing. I'm able to kind of like support myself. I have an old friend of mine who's always been by my side, and you know, I'm getting ready to step into adulthood in biochemistry or chemical biochemistry or whatever it is. You know, super science guys, it's like biochemicals and stuff. He's getting his sciences on. He keeps having these weird kind of migraines that are showing up as, I guess you could say, energy pulses from these people that come from the future. And I like how we display these people in the story because they're not heavy-handed with like, we're future, get out of our way, we've got future things to do. They do a good job of trying to sneak around the current time without kind of like alerting people. So they're not just like bowling people over. Similar like the Terminator, when he come back, he just be like, he don't care who you is. He killing everybody. But I like that they work as a team to sort of stealthily find this person. Now, when they find this person, it's an all-out fight. In a good fight because Caleb is somehow wanted by them and he doesn't know. And then to see their interaction of a growing power or I guess a latent power that he doesn't even know he has, it gets very interesting to the point where when they're fighting, you see him in sort of an outer body experience. And I like that we have, we walk into a hero who not only doesn't know his power, because we've seen that before, but also someone who is so disconnected from their power that it's almost like they're not even experiencing a fight. You see him experience a very traumatic moment from his youth. And that traumatic moment from his youth ties in very well to what we're experiencing, sadly, because it's not like this comic book is particularly brand new. They have newer issues that are coming up now, but this issue, I believe, came out in 2015, the issue that I'm talking about this story in, or this part of the story. And it's a shame that this is a traumatic moment all too often to young Black boys go through. And that traumatic moment is kind of brought back before him in this fight in a very cool way. I mean, not cool for him because it's a traumatic moment, but the way we experience it and the way we see him go through it is interesting because what he experiences as a reliving of this moment comes off very differently in, I guess, very different in the way the fight actually happens, as we see from the newscast later on. And whether it's like newscasts or whether it's friends seeing videos or whether it's, you know, people commenting on it later, they do a good job of making sure we get our exposition on the go about the fight and how people are experiencing it, whether we're doing evacuations, whether we're doing kind of like sneaking to kind of get up close, whether we're watching or kind of bypassing televisions that have a newscaster on it. And I think that's a good job of making sure we're aware of a wider, I guess you could say a wider effect on the rest of the population here in Lafayette, Indiana. I think it does a good job of grounding it, you know, in a way where it's like, yo, I don't know, you know, we don't know what's going on. there's a quarantine going on there. The military is going to be moving in. They're getting people out of the area. They're cording off this and cording off that and getting the students out of the way of the college and stuff. And that works well. But that's kind of like your current time. This also deals with like this future timeline of this kind of estranged or very different Kale that we see in the future in the 31st century, you know, on some like, I've got to find Okemus, which ends up being, of course, this place. It's, I guess you can say a city, if you will, or definitely a location that he's looking for to find more answers about who he is, why he is, how he came to be, and this, that, and the third, because we find out in the present time that this man has some fantastical evolving powers, and they're pretty cool. And it throws you, because the way this story works is you're thinking, yo, check it. I got this. I know what Okemus is. This is going to be a situation where the Sentai guys come in and they're like the Power Rangers fighting force. And they definitely throw you for a loop, and they're like, nah, this is not what you're seeing right now. And you probably ain't going to see that. And in the future, that we get in issue 0, we get a very interesting look at a man kind of out of time searching for answers and coming up against a force sort of unlike any other, where we have these monsters that are cybernetically enhanced, that have completely subverted, you know, any kind of human tactical response, and they're just, humans are just basically cannon fodder or food for these things. You know, it's, I think they say, they have a line of, it made slaves of men and beggars of presidents or something like that. And you get to experience just what it's like on the ground by seeing people just kind of like torn apart and like beat up and things on fire. And it's a very, very post-apocalyptic Book of Eli, but just with cybernetic monsters, and Kale's navigating through this, trying to find answers. And I like that you see a very different Kale here that is definitely sure of his powers, definitely adaptable to many situations when it comes to how he works with his suit, how he like handles his, he has a sword that manifests. He's able to grab information from people's minds and data banks and stuff. This thing is actually kind of cool, and I want to see more of the new issues that they have, because they just read a Kickstarter that was successful at the end of last year or late last year. I think it was like around October, but I can't remember for sure. But it was successful, where I want to see kind of where this goes, man, because we find Kale in the future looking for a man named Barnabas who can lead him to Okemus. And we see even in that one issue how his powers are continually evolving and changing and forming themselves to better protect, I guess, the host for or himself, I guess, is, if that's the best way to try to explain it. And it is dope when it comes to the fight scenes. Once again, well drawn and well choreographed fight scenes, because sometimes just because something's well drawn doesn't mean that the fight scenes can be engaging. But here the fight scenes are engaging, and I enjoy them a lot to see how they turn your basic quest to like for knowledge into something that gives us tense moments where our hero isn't always just like, he's not just going to walk through everything. And here we find someone who is getting answers, maybe not all the answers that we want, but he is getting answers. And I think that the way we're led along with the questions that are kind of like provided to us is very cool, because outside of that future of him searching for Okemus, we also get this other look at the team that comes back to find Kale in the past, speaking to like these alien masters who are almost, I guess you could say they're essentially holding them hostage or holding them over a barrel and forcing them to go find this guy because of whatever power they have over them, which kind of opens up another question. You know what I'm saying? We have this team, they look super cool, they got their suits on and everything, and you're like, oh man, that's so cool. They look sweet, like, yo, what's up with them? And you find out, like, yo, basically what's going on is they're also kind of pawns in this weird power grab that's going on as well. And where does that leave them? What does that do to them when they try and, to a certain degree, as far as we know, between issue 0 and 3, semi-fail? And it's kind of leaning on where they're going to go, who they're going to be, and can they go back without having everything that they need. Like there's this point where the alien masters that they're serving that kind of get revealed to us that it's very important that they bring this man back, of course, alive, and so they can test him or whatever. And the fight on the ground that they engage in with Kale gets so heated and so volatile that they not only end up essentially destroying a stadium, but also bringing down like a 757 airplane. Like it's crazy how wild this fight gets. Now they do some kind of like tropey stuff with this girl that he likes, and she kind of shows up in the fight, and you're like, why was it? But besides that, we get a very destructive and a costly destruction. Like, it's not like, an airplane comes down. Oh, well, it's like, no, there were people in this airplane, and can they be saved? Is there anyone left? Like, we see these issues kind of play out in the book where it's not just swept under the rug, like, it's whatever. They did. Look, they dead now. Oh man. So I guess I'm trying to see how to approach the next piece. Let's see. Okemus is something that I think. Let me see how to approach this. This is something that I think not only has the ability to cross between a lot of cool stuff that Marvel's doing, a lot of cool stuff that the Hulk is doing, a lot of cool stuff that Power Rangers in comic book form has done, and a lot of cool stuff that you may have seen in a lot of team-based action series in this book. And I think that's a good thing because you get a bit of familiarity with this while also getting a touch of something new, a touch of the kind of like the ability to see what else is possible, or how can we tweak this kind of genre, and also having the look from the lens of a Black perspective is something interesting as well. So do I dig this? Do I think it's something that you should check out? Yeah, I've read this. This is something that I actually ended up reading fast. There was a day I was going to split these up and read. It's 4 issues in all that I read. So there was going to be I was going to read 2 issues one day and 2 issues the next day in preparation for the show. I read 1 issue, and then I read the second one, and then I was like, let me go on and read that 3rd issue. And then I was like, word, let me go and read that 4th issue. So it's something that kept me reading, kept me engaged, and kept me asking the right questions, and which I think is also something interesting. before I go, I will say there is an older man that meets up with our young Kale, and he does a good job of making sure that you not only know how to, you meaning Kale, know how to access your power, but also how to grow that power, and also how to ask the right questions about what's going on around you in your life. Now, at the same time, dude could have just told him what was going on. You know what? That I'm gonna jump on that for a second. That gets on my nerves. Look, you know there's a young brother. He in the past. He don't know nothing. All right? He don't know nothing. He just up in here. He ain't got a care in the world. He just trying to get his college on. All right? Why don't you sit him down and do the right thing? Let him know what's going on. Teach him in the ways. Why do you have to make it hard? This dude is dangerous out there, man. It's a team of people trying to kill him. What are you doing? Why are you going to leave him out there to fend for himself when you got all the answers? Huh, Sway? You got the answers. Now, because you ain't giving answers, now look at you. Kale ain't got no answers. Now he on his own. You know what I'm saying? He on his all out on his own like Patti LaBelle out there with the team of Centaur people. They shooting at him and trying to cut him up and beating him up. And now he got to protect his girl. See, if he could have been, his girl would have been fine if you would have just gave him answers, man. But do you listen? No. I'm gonna go back in time and I'm gonna be vague. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make him fight for his answers. See what happens? You see, perfect example. If you would have told this man the things he needed to know, guess what? There's a whole plane of people that would have been all right, but you don't listen. You don't listen. I digress. On the real, guys, Okemus is something that's fun to watch, something fun to read. I say watch because I put it on my big screen, but it's a good read. I like the art from it. It's really cool. I like what they're doing with the genres that they're kind of putting together. The writing is fun. There's nothing that seems too slow as far as exposition and stuff like that, and it leaves us with the right type of questions. It doesn't leave us with questions like, you know, who is he? Who is that person? But it leaves questions where we want to open up more doors where it can lead us to new stuff and newer and, you know, kind of subsequent issues. So is it worth your time? I would say yes. I would say, yo, check it out. It is worth your time. Yo, I enjoy it. I ain't gonna front. I enjoy it. I was sleeping, man. I was sleeping. I interviewed TJ Sterling last year and I have been sleeping. But TJ, I'm woke now, all right? So, TJ, if you see this, I'm woke now. So since I'm woke, I'm going to need that Okemus hardcover, my brother. I'm just saying, I need that Okemus hardcover so I can put it on my shelf. Boop, right there. Matter of fact, there's a couple of other indie guys that's out there killing it. Now, I'm going to need some hardcovers. I know the indie game. I know it takes time. But consider me first when you go to the hardcover editions. Because I would love to put your hardcover right beside my, like, you know, Vader and all them stuff. Please, just get in touch with me when you get them hardcovers ready. So with that said, guys, thank you for rolling through. Of course, this is Talk Shop where we get into comics. Next week, we will be covering, you know what? I'm going to leave it a surprise of what we're covering next week. Because, you know, we'll be here, but I'm going to leave it a surprise what we're covering next week. If we hear next week. But with that said, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. YouTube is the hub, so hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Hit that thumbs down if you don't. But remember, you know what I'm saying? If you hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send the whole power of Kale and his transformed form down on you. And you ain't going to like that because he's a pretty tough brother, all right? He's got some size, he got some muscles, all right? He got some muscles. You don't want to deal with that. And podcast, if you want to listen. If you're like, yo, man, I don't like looking at you. I just want to listen to you. You'd be like, cool, get your podcast on. And Spotify for that music because I don't play. Once again, shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Much love. And do not forget, Okemus can be found at the links down below. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. And I'm woke now, so I want that hardcover. Of course, guys, if you know someone who's out there popping, like, RAE Comics or Comic Republic or 133 Yard or whoever, tell them to holler at me. If it's dope, I'll review it. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. If it's dope. Now, I can't guarantee how quick it'll be done, but if it's dope, I'll review it. So, we're going to leave y'all with ARCKATRON.com. Yo, man, he dope. He built the space bridge, and we going to get into it. That's right. It's a joint called Feels Good. I got a little surprise for y'all with that, too. But from now until the next time, which will be later tonight, playing Cuphead, I got to say, peace. And we out. Yeah. We out. Oh.